Hello, I am William Jamal Wright,
And I'm Hattie.
and this is our podcast, HattieJo. What are we doing? So, besides getting old, how are we doing?
Yeah, getting very old, folks. Oh man. I mean, long time no talk since our last episode, but speaking of getting old, I think we had one of us had a getting old moment in the last podcast too.
Yeah, we didn't think you did.
Sad.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So this week's topic.
Anyway, right.
Yeah.
To give some context, we're sitting here with our lumbar support, both of us, and it's feeling very good. So, you know, take care of your backs, folks.
So as most of you, well, most people probably know at this point, I am moving on to a new job at a new school, assistant principal. What? Looking very excited about that. Very looking forward to it. But since I'm moving on, I thought like it'd be kind of cool to I'll be working with a different age group, a little bit older, middle school and high school students. The last 5 years I've been basically working with basically third grade and younger. And so I thought it'd be cool to be like do a little episode of some things I've learned from elementary school kids over the last couple of years, and definitely like the families and different dynamics and things like that. So
yeah, I love this idea, and I coached gymnastics for a long time in graduate school, almost a decade, and I coached a range of ages from about second or third grade through high school. So I was also going to supplement with my own thoughts as well.
Yeah.
Not that, I do think that coaching is different than teaching, but I think the interaction with kids is a lot. There's a lot of
things you can learn from them.
Right. And I do feel like too, some of my students I had from the time they were in third grade through the time that they graduated high school.
Yeah.
So that's a long period
of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so please start us off. What's the number one thing?
We'll start off with number 5. Okay. So number 5, I would say that just because you were really struggle on one thing, that does not mean that the next thing won't be easy as cake and you'll be eating it up. There are some skills that I have worked to try to teach a student, and they just struggle with it, and it takes them a while to get it and just get the basic fundamentals of it. But then we'll go to another topic that's I think is much more difficult, but they're oh, this is easy. Oh, we should have done this first. Oh, what do we this very simple thing, or this easier concept, because it's not simple to a lot of them. It's
I mean, they're there to learn
skill.
it,
Yeah,
right?
they're there to learn it. If they knew it already,
they wouldn't be in third grade.
Yeah. But the different concepts, I would say the different concepts students pick up much more easier than other things. And I think that was I would say this podcast is not really new things that I've learned, just little reminders that kind of have been reinforced.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't do well at this one thing, or one subject is a little bit more difficult for me, that really has no bearing on the next subject that we will be going over, or the next chapter that we'll be learning.
Well, that's interesting that you say that. I don't know if it would be my number 5, it might be my number 3, but a very similar thing, which is, and it was actually one of the things I enjoyed most about coaching, which is that different athletes need things explained to them in different ways. And I enjoyed the challenge of, okay, explaining this or having this set of drills works for 60% of my athletes, 40% need something else. What can I come up with to serve those athletes and help their brains understand? And it's not just those two options, right? Of that 40%, maybe I would come up with something else and it would work for 30% of them, but there would still be another percentage that needs yet something else. And I really enjoyed that challenge of trying to relate to each individual person and understand what they need to be successful. And that extends beyond just teaching a skill, but also how you coach them.
Yeah.
Right. And I do feel like I had a certain base level of interaction with every child, right, based on respect and understanding that we're here to learn, but we're also here to have fun.
Yeah.
Things like that. But beyond that, you can kind of tailor your approach based on each individual personality. So kind of just acknowledging the diversity and acknowledging that one approach does not fit all.
Yeah.
Was absolutely something that one of the main things I took away from.
Yeah, and I would definitely say like on a kind of like that's another kind of I would kind of phrase it a little bit differently because it's in the classroom. Like you have to, as a teacher, there's a variety of different levels, as you said, and like you have to find a technique and a strategy that like works for them. Mm-hmm. We would oftentimes do like a kind of like curriculum night where parents come in and talk about like the different curriculums. And I kind of would explain like, all right, so if we want all students to kind of reach mastery and like you can find the answer and you can find it different ways. But some students like that's not going to be the case. And like they need one way to do it and they need one way that's tried and true. And so that they can figure out the answer. And so we oftentimes offer like a variety of different ways that like you can do this and you can get the correct answer. And so for that student that is like really high achieving, I might be like, all right, you need to do it like all 5 ways that I've taught. Like show me that you like do it all 5 ways and that way you can check your answers and things like that. But there may be another student or like a student that's in the middle. Like they really get like 2 different strategies. So hey, show me the 2 different strategies that you used. And then there may be like a low student be like, all right, show me how to get the correct answer. And so along those lines, a teacher has to be like really creative. And I feel like for me, like students really challenge me to like find different ways and learn from them. Like, hey, this is the way I did it. This is the way like I understand it. Okay, well, I can use that in the future and I can use that to help different students. There was one student that I had at Archway Lincoln, that was in my 2nd year of teaching 3rd grade. And she was like, it took her a little bit more time, but she always like got the correct answer by doing it this one certain way. And so I wouldn't say she was a lower student, but once I got to like working with some of the other different lower students, I was like, you know what? Like she always got the correct answer. Like it took her a little bit of time, but like she worked it and she got the correct answer. I'm gonna like try and see if this helps other students. And so yeah, that creativity and taking what the students give you and like using that and applying it to other students was definitely something that I learned. So yeah.
Nice.
The next thing I would say.
Number 4?
Yeah, well, like that was kind of 2.
Okay, all right. So on to number 3.
Yeah, on to the next one. So, like, I would say for the most part, like, so maybe this is a little bit more of a personality trait for me, but like, the kids.
I mean, one of the things that you learn through this experience could be learning about yourself. That's completely fine.
Yeah. And so I would say that the kid, like, the things that I do would really annoy me if I was a teacher. Like, there are so many things that, like...
Wait, when you say the things that you do, you mean now as an adult or the things you did as a child?
Like, both. Like, there could be so many things that, like, me as the teacher, that I'm like, oh, this is so annoying. But I'm just like, well, I would probably do the same exact thing. Like... and it's amazing that like that's the case. And like,
can you give an example?
So there be a student and I tell them to do something, like go take your snack and put your snack away and put it in your bag. And so like I can't tell you how many times you've asked me to do something like that. Will you please put this away at the house? And I'd be like, all right, well, I'm gonna get to it, and I'll get
Just
to it.
not do it. Yeah.
No, I'll do it. Like, if you ask me to do stuff, I do it. Like, I do stuff that you ask me to do.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, but I would say in my classroom, like, I expect them to do it immediately, and like, they don't do it immediately, and like, that frustrates me. I'm like, I told you I feel like the relationship dynamics are different, and so like, if I'm asking you to put away your snack, I'm asking you to put it away so that we can get to the next thing, and I want it done like immediately. And I need it to be done immediately so that we can continue moving on with the day. Like, I've given you a time limit for like, I don't just, or every day I'm not just walking into the classroom and like, hey, like, snack time is over, put away your snack now. Like, there's oftentimes like a time limit, and you have a certain amount of time to like eat your snack. And so if I am giving them directions that their snack needs to be put away, the time limit has oftentimes already ended. Mm-hmm. And so like, we need to move on to the next thing. And so just like little things like that, I'll be like, like, if Hattie asks me to do something, yes, I'm gonna do it, but I may not do it exactly when she wants me to do it. Like, it's gonna be okay if I don't do it like exactly when she wants me to do it. But like, I think about me being in class, like, it's not okay. I want you to do it right now. I told you to do it, so do it. And I do understand that the power dynamics are different.
Totally. Yeah.
So yeah, just kind of.
Yeah, I don't really have. I guess something that's kind of a similar theme that I've learned through coaching is you can't make anyone do anything. You might be able to coerce someone into doing something, but that's not generally a positive interaction. And so at the end of the day, if a child is choosing that they don't want to apply themselves or don't want to work hard or don't want, like, I can't control that. I can help incentivize them. I can help make things more fun for them. Mm-hmm. I can help, I can learn about myself that I don't like coercing them, right? And but at the end of the day, I can't make them do anything. And so I think learning that kind of ability to give up control in some regard, especially when you see an athlete with lots of potential, or they're really close and they're just messing around, and that they can focus, right? Or that they can apply themselves and they have voiced to you certain goals, and you're like, I'm here to help you reach those goals, but like, help me help you. Like, you need to, but like, at the end of the day, I just can't make them do it, right? Mm-hmm. And so again, finding strategies to incentivize them, make it more fun for them, and also realizing that not everybody every day is going to be, it's not like I'm coaching Olympians here, right? I feel like elite athletes are some of the rare individuals who more often than not can be on it 100% every day, giving it their all. But the average normal child athlete, that's an unrealistic expectation, I think. And so learning how to work with that, with what they can give, and trying to get more out of them, right? It's not like, oh, we're settling for this is how you come in, but also realizing that I can bring them up, but I need to have expectations that are appropriate for their actual capability. And again, not settling, but helping them improve and grow, but at the same time being realistic about what they have available to give. And for each athlete, that can look very different.
Yeah.
And so just learning, again, that I guess for me is more that control piece of no matter how badly I want it for them or how badly I feel like they really could do it, I can't make them. And that can be tough. And at the end of the day, it's their choice and it's their behavior. And I think that a lot of times it can be tough as a coach or as a parent or as a teacher to kind of come to terms with that reality. Because I do think it's very easy to feel like their performance or their behavior reflects on you, which it does to a large extent.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they are their own person. And while you have an influence on that, it's not 100% in your control.
Interesting.
So what's the next?
Yeah, I would say next, just that, like, here in Arizona, we have like a lot of school choice. And so you can pick like a school that's more like athletically inclined, a school that's more like arts inclined. Like you can find a gifted and talented program. Like there are a variety of different like avenues and schools that you can pick for your kids. And so like, I feel like it really, parents should do their due diligence in finding out like what works best for their kid. Because like, I think some people like, they just hear, oh, this is a good school, my kid should go to this school, without thinking about like, is this a good environment for my kid in terms of the structure of the school? Like, are they like, what are they asking of the students, and does that fit kind of, or it's kind of like square peg round hole? Like, am I trying to jam this school model onto my kid because I heard this is a really good school, like they get really good test scores, or is like, should I find a school that like maybe they are like, who knows, like maybe they allow like kids to dress up as superheroes every day, like, and that like that creativity, and like they always do like writing, or like they like to have plays and things like that. Like what best fits my kid, and like looking at the school, like, because I think a lot of like, I'll put it this way, administrators, like they want to, especially at like charter and public schools, like they need the kids in the schools, like in order to like keep the doors open. Like if you ain't got no kids, then you don't have a school. And so they really want to like, they want to get as many students as possible in there, because they do think that like their school is a good school, and they think it benefits children to be there. But I really do think it behooves the parents to like really like think about like, is this a good fit for my child? Because I definitely like, I think some schools can be better fits than others based off like the curriculum and kind of how the school runs and things like that. Like,
and the kid, right?
Yeah, and the kid, which is the most important. Like the kids, but yeah. So that would be my like next observation. Just that like parents really need to think about like what school environment is best for their kids.
And so how would you encourage a parent to think about that? Because I feel like on some level you have to just try something, right?
Yeah.
But after trying enough things, or even just trying one thing, you probably also need to be receptive to feedback, either from the teacher themselves, the child themselves, or from like observing.
Yeah,
Do you know
I
what
would.
mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So I would definitely like. I would encourage parents to go and like look at different schools, and kind of like, and listen to their kids. Like their kids know like what's happening on a day-to-day basis, and kind of like, are you getting a bunch of like parent-teacher notes that saying like they're like misbehaving and things like that? Like there should be some communication from the teacher and the parents. But I think really like going around and looking at different schools, and then also listening to like your child, and what their interests are, and what like, how do they behave? Can they sit and like read a book for 30 to 45 minutes? If they can do that, then like they're probably going to be fine in a really like high achieving structured classroom. But if they can't do that, and that's what the school calls for, or if they are at a school where like the kids are always like they have a lot of freedom, they're able to get up and go like to the restroom, and like they can make choices and do as they kind of, as long as they're getting their work done. Say like a Montessori school or something like that, where like the education is really put on the kids and they progress as the kids like get at their pace. And so like if that's the type of kid that you have that like is really like questions a lot and really curious and has like a sense of wonder, then like, hey, like a Montessori school may be best for them. And not having like a situation where like I have to sit on the carpet crisscross applesauce for an extended period of time, and like I don't get to use my creativity, and like I prefer to draw, and like, so thinking about those types of things I think can be helpful for a parent.
Nice. Yeah, great advice.
Yeah. And so the next thing, this is kind of just like more of an observation of like families.
Mm-hmm.
Like divorce is really hard on the kids, and the parents don't make it any easier. Like I understand that divorce is really like difficult on the parents, and every time, like it's a lot of times I come across parents that have either gotten a divorce or like are getting a divorce, and it seems like it's just a lot, and everybody's struggling with how to adjust in this new kind of stage of life that they're in, and it really does have an effect on the kids. And so, like, how could families like mitigate that and kind of make the child's life as normal as possible? I think for anybody that's going through a divorce or in a divorce or have already been divorced, like really the adults in the room having a sit down and talk about like what's best for the kid and how do we keep them centered in the conversation. So yeah, that would be my kind of next observation.
Astute observation.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not something that you really expect comes up a lot at school, but you spend a lot of time with the kids at school.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that, you know, I didn't mean that in a sarcastic way. I do think that's actually a good observation.
Yeah.
And again, it's a little slightly different, but kind of on a similar theme. I would say the number one thing that I learned from coaching is not just how to teach athletes gymnastics moves and how to teach them discipline, like all of that stuff I learned and really valued and felt personal fulfillment and satisfaction from developing those skills in myself, the ability to teach those to children. But the number one thing that I learned is that it's like about managing emotions almost as much, if not more than teaching them gymnastic skills. Like, in order to teach them gymnastic skills, in order to teach them life skills, like self-discipline, applying yourself, working hard, you know, all those things, I have to first manage their emotions and get them in a place where they can be receptive to learning those lessons. And they come in every day with various emotions, and it's unpredictable, right? Yeah, and like different kids have different, you know, different ranges, different frequencies that they're in, so, you know, and it's not like, oh, today everyone's mad or today everyone's upset, right? It's like a variable smattering. And so learning how to manage those emotions and make each child feel respected, heard, and valued is like critical to then getting anything else to happen. And so I just marveled in my mind at how little of it was really about the gymnastics. And I mean, we learned a lot of good gymnastics. I don't want this to sound like, wow, Hattie, you really got nothing done in that gymnastics practice. I definitely don't think that's the case. We had lots of high-level girls. I just really think that in order for me to be effective, I had to learn really quickly that the biggest thing was managing the emotions. And that was not something that as an athlete, I myself really picked up on or understood or felt like it was at the forefront of my mind until I had started coaching a little bit. And so that was, like I said, probably the number one biggest lesson that I learned. And I do try to carry that through with me, you know, whether it's now at work and I'm helping the junior staff, or whether it's with Winnie, right, helping her learn, and just any interaction that I'm in, I do try to think about those things. Doesn't always come from top of mind, but it's definitely something I.
Well, it's funny. We read that book about like how to teach your child how to read, and that was one thing that like the guy that wrote the book, he kept bringing up, like, make sure that this is like fun, and like if they are like in a good mood. If they're not in a good mood, like don't do it. If they're like,
don't even try.
Don't even try.
Right?
Like,
Just
it's he made a point to like say that like how they're feeling needs to be taken into account before you do. Like,
and it wasn't a side point.
No,
this was a reiterated main theme that it's like if they're not in the right frame of mind, it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
And actually taking time away if they're not in the right frame of mind is more productive than trying to force it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree with you. But again, that's not to say like, oh, you came into the gym mad, it's a lost day, we're doing nothing. Like, no, like we're still here to work, we're still here to learn. I just, as a coach, have a different job to do to get you to a place where you can then start to learn than the whatever attitude you had when you came in yesterday. So yeah. Is there any other
well, I would the last major lesson I would say is that like just the kids are resilient. They like for the most part they work really hard. I'm sure they like, I hate to phrase it this way, but it's like the only way I can think of it. Like I know that like I can be very demanding as a teacher, and very stern in terms of like there's certain ways that I want things so that we can be productive, and I like that's done on purpose so that like everybody knows like there's a clear line, like don't step over the line is right here, like it's a very clear line. And so I would just say that like although I would even classify myself as like a more strict teacher. Like the kids always like were very resilient. They always worked hard and like pushed themselves. And like I got this phrase like, you can do hard things. I would always like, I'm a hard teacher. This is kind of like how I ended the year every year. Like, I'm a hard teacher. Like, you guys have all passed and like you're moving on to like the next grade. And so like, you now know that you can do hard things. And so they'll be able to, when difficult times come, they will come in life, but like they've already shown that they can be resilient and they can fight and they can figure it out. And so that would be
rise to the expectation.
Rise to the occasion. Mm-hmm. And so I really did enjoy teaching third grade and teaching the kids and doing math and but time has come to an end and I've learned some things from them and hopefully they learn some things from me and get a little bit better and go on and make an impact on the world.
Yeah, and you can do hard things.
Yep.
So excellent. Well, that's what we're doing.
All right. Deuces.